She has an MFA and is a grant recipient from Brooklyn College's fiction program. Has a music degree from NYU. Hi, Emily. How are you? I was just starting to read about all your amazing feats in the musical theater world.
Oh my gosh. I'm doing well. How are you? Hanging in there.
I'm good. Where are you these days?
I'm in my apartment in Brooklyn, by myself, staying in. Um, my family is in Chicago, so it's pretty too far to travel. So I've just been hunkering down, working from home, writing, reading, going for walks.
I mean, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. I work for a school, so we are working on the remote learning process right now.
Got it. And you are like the best singer. I felt like, so you have a little clip on your website,
Yeah.
Emily Neuberger, of you performing a beautiful song that actually was in this book called, hold on, I have the name of it, I Wish It Was So by Mark Blitzstein, which actually was in the book. And I turned it on and I was like, oh, like you're like a totally amazing performer. So tell me about how you turned your musical theater background now into writing, and how you're now the debut author of this wonderful book.
Well, it's funny, that song was actually my audition song for college at NYU. So that's why it's in the book. It's historically accurate, but I was like, oh, that'd be cute if everything is the same song. So I was always a huge reader growing up as a child, and like reading, books under the desk at school and getting in trouble. And I always wrote stories even while I was a singer and a performer. And I think what really attracted me to musical theater was the storytelling and how the music could embody the emotion of the story, but you're also, it's both a musical journey and a visual journey and an emotional journey the whole time. So somewhere along the way, when I was studying to be a performer and I was performing in productions, I was realizing that my place as an actor was not what I was most interested in pursuing. Like that angle of the process was not fulfilling what I had come there searching for. And so I started writing on the side with more intention. I'd always kind of been doing it, but I was like, what if I explore this a little bit more? Because I realized that the people who got to be a part of the whole production were the writers, the directors. And so I started a novel, and that novel is in a drawer, but then I started thinking about like what I loved most, which was making a musical and thinking about all the parts, the choreography, the composition, the costumes. And the musicals that I had grown up watching the most were the musicals of the 50s. And that was just a really interesting time, because it was a time of tremendous social change and a time when Broadway was really developing what it is today. And so that's why I set the book in that time period.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Tell me about the fact that the story of the book is between a white woman and a black man, and how this caused all sorts of ripples back in the day. And then how did you come up with that idea, and how did it feel like to write about that?
Well, so the book is about making a musical, and
yes, sorry,
going on at the same time. And so the musical, an interracial love story, and hangs the plot of Romeo and Juliet on those parameters. And so I was attracted to that idea. And then I was also just thinking after the 2016 election about the difference in how people talk about prejudice versus racism, and how the two often get turned into sort of the same thing, and they're not. And I was thinking about a white woman find out, like, am I really not part of the problem? I probably am. And so I was thinking about, in this time period of social change, and how a girl from Wisconsin who's white in 1958 might come into a friendship and have to change a lot of things about herself in order to really play a character who falls in love with a Black man and have to really find out like how innocent she really is, and actually revise her opinions about her own innocence in this society.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. I mean, it sounds great. What is it like now being a debut author, and you've done all this work and spent, how long did it take you to write this book, by the way?
The first draft took about 6 months, and then but I mean, all told, probably about 2.5 years.
So 2.5 years of your life is dedicated to this project, and here it is, and now you can't get out to sell it. How do you feel about this whole thing? Like, what has this been like for you?
It was hard. I do think I could see it coming for a few weeks, that it was not going to be what I thought it was going to be. And it's almost like watching something fall off a table from across the room, where you're like, no, and you like can't go there to fix it. But it's like, it's coming. And so it's not like my publicist emailed me and said, oh, all your events are canceled. I was mentally preparing myself for that for a couple of weeks, but still it was like, oh, maybe the events in early April will be canceled, and then not the ones later. And then it's just, I think now it's almost easier because this is such a small thing compared to what else is going on in the world. And so that's not comforting at all, but it makes the loss of the book publication feel a little bit, put it in perspective. However, it is tremendously scary and disappointing, especially for a fiction writer, because I mean, just like in musical theater, nothing is guaranteed. Your career is not guaranteed. And so to have my first step be so fraught is really scary. But I'm in the same boat as a lot of other people, and so I'm just feeling like really grateful to be published in the first place and to have a novel coming out, and this doesn't take away at all from that achievement. And I just hope readers find the book, and it really is escapist. It's historical fiction, and a lot of people, you can't go to a musical right now, so you can read about one, and I'm hoping that if people want to read something, then they can still find the book. And the events are, it's really about the experience of the reader reading the book, not the events. Those are more for me, I think, or for my family. And so that's it's sad, but it's about putting when they're on their own.
Can you hear me? Sorry, this is like being a working mom or whatever. My daughter's like calling me nonstop, so keeps pausing the video. Anyway. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you've had to go through this, as I know you have great perspective on it, but it still sucks, and I'm still sorry. And I still think it's awesome that it's out, or, that it's here it is, and you did it, and that's really great. So I hope that people find it, and that once we're all out of the house, you can have a belated celebration for it and help them find more readers. So anyway, well, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.